This is Morten from INKISH. Today I have the pleasure of talking to a person. His name is Frank de Jonge, and we have met a couple of times, but it's actually been mostly online, to be honest. And the last time I spoke to Frank, he was in a different location, still at a home office, and he was also working in a different company. Today I'm going to talk to Frank a little bit about his new venture, NEOS. It's an Italian inkjet machine manufacturer and a lot of other things. And we are also going to talk about the IST UV Days that is just in 1.5 weeks, where Frank will be to answer all the questions you might have to NEOS and to Frank about all the wonderful things they're doing. So Frank, welcome to INKISH.
Thank you, Morten. Nice to see you again.
So tell us a little bit about what is NEOS.
NEOS is an Italian company, now 6 years old, but I would still call it a startup with a very strong legacy in single-pass inkjet printing, because it was founded by an Italian entrepreneur called Vincenzo Palumbo. And Vincenzo was the inventor of single-pass inkjet printing in the ceramics industry. 2005, he started his company, Projector Engineering, who became one of the leading companies in the single-pass inkjet printing for the ceramic tiles industry. And after Vincenzo sold his company to an integrator company who builds the whole factory for ceramic tile manufacturing, he started NEOS in 2017. Used a lot of his experience and knowledge. Vincenzo is an engineer, is a man who likes to find solutions where others say this is impossible. And he started NEOS and started building inkjet printers for applications where other companies have not found a solution, but also very challenging solutions like over 2 meter wide single pass printers. That's not so many companies who do this, and this is what we do now in NEOS.
Okay, quite interesting. We'll dig a little bit more into the products and applications. I remember once I was visiting some kind of trade show where I saw the NEOS for the first time. It seems that it is, it takes the good out of the design of Italian kind of style. I mean, it's even machines that look great. Then I saw the output of the machines, simply amazing. And then I looked at the website and got a little understanding that it seems that a very kind of modular approach to the industry, but it seems also that it has a huge flexibility when it comes to print heads, when it comes to all the things that, typically people ask, so are you based on this technology or this technology? But it seems that you can accommodate almost any technology that the customer needs, right?
Almost, yeah. That's definitely one of the strong points of NEOS, the very long experience with driving different types of printheads. Certainly, the request for a wide variety of applications is to find the right mix, to find the right concept of printhead and ink on the one hand side, but also the feeding process and the control process. We have developed and I would like to say that's one of the really strong points of NEOS is the software. We have developed software solutions for overcoming situations that are mechanically not possible. And just to give one quick example, we print on metal sheets, 1 meter by 1 meter in a single pass process with 50 meters per minute. The challenge in metal sheets is they are not even. And as you and most of the people who are probably listening are aware of, inkjet printing requires very precise and very short distance between the head and the material. And if you have variations in your material, and particularly metal, your head quickly gets damaged. So we developed a solution to identify the variations in the material and to the software that controls the printer in a way that it reacts and overcomes this situation. That's quite a unique thing to do.
Does that mean that you kind of scan the things before it's getting printed, or does it mean that you're on the go are able to adjust because I take that if you have an uneven surface, if it is too uneven and you have a distance to the surface you're printing on, I take that it can't skew the output unless you compensate for that in how you ink directly on for example metal plate. So how is it done on, let's say, that application that you talk about here?
Yeah, there's a variety of things that we have done to make it possible to inkjet print in this application. And as far as we can see, we have little to no competition in inkjet printing on metal sheets in the moment. The first selection was the printhead, which is a technology that can jet from a wider distance than most other printheads. The second is, in fact, a camera and a laser system, which is the laser is actually measuring the surface, the height, and the irregularity in the sheet. And the camera is identifying the angle that the sheet goes under the print bar. And together, with the information we're getting from these measuring tools, the software then controls the print onto the metal sheet in this case. And if the variations are too high, the machine would stop and the operator can remove this material or let it flow out and restart with the next sheet.
When you mentioned that as an application, because I mean, when we look at you even mentioned yourself that the ceramic market has been actually digital for years now, right? And I was just thinking that when you talk about, for example, the metal plate, is that because the speed, the quality, the operational cost is now starting to get interesting even for let's say can producers and producers of alu foils and foils and things like that, or is it more like an example of the diversity of the machine?
In this case, what I've explained is showing the possibilities we are making use of in NEOS to find a solution to an application where currently inkjet or digital is not being applied. But most industries that we are addressing has a demand for inkjet for the short runs and for the individualizations. And our first customer for the metal plates is a company printing crown caps. Yeah, so the caps on the bottles of beer bottles, Coca-Cola, lemonade stuff.
Who should have thought that, right?
Personalizing this, seasonal themes to print on this. Print crown caps for football matches and different things, and increasing the possibilities in marketing. And the other one, of course, as you know, packaging, languages, individualization for areas, countries, and etc. often requires shorter runs, and the offset machines don't like anything less than 10,000 sheets in one run with the same type of design. And with inkjet, you can do as in every other inkjet, one if you want, but the shorter runs definitely it makes a lot of sense to use them.
So it seems that with what you're saying right now, that was a few examples of what you're doing. But when I again remember back from when I saw also, I got a printed catalog of from NEOS. It is actually in many different applications. So would you say that you are a technology provider for, I mean, almost every kind of industrial print, and also from the, let's say, the more printing industry that I'm more concerned about, or is it just to give examples of the diversity? The reason I'm asking is because I'm always like, we are, you know, if you go back to the offset market, basically there's like 4 or 5 suppliers in the world, right? But in the inkjet market, there's so many. So I think that for customers, sometimes who should I pick? What is the gain of working with different technologies, and who should I work with in order to really get the most out of my investment? So I mean, when you and your company started like 6 years ago, you must have either identified a niche or a very competitive advantage using NEOS. And can you tell me a little bit about that?
The concept that NEOS has developed in these 6 years is the modularity. We have 3 basic printer types that we can vary in terms of, you said in the beginning, which type of printhead, how many printheads, how many colors, how many pinning stations in case of UV, how many drying power, how wide. Yeah, the smallest printer we're building, it's typically used for sampling, but also for small production, like this case here. We do edge bend, which is used in the decor industry, where you have sometimes only 10 centimeter wide job to print. So we have printers that do this. And the widest printer we do is in the moment 2 meter 25 in a single pass application for printing on paper, 250 square meters a minute. And the concepts that we use between our models are called trainer, fighter, and bombardier, are all very versatile and very flexible. So they can be equipped with the right solution for the customer's applications.
So
And
if
the
you look
solution
at
is often in the combination of the chemistry. If I just may explain, the chemistry in combination with the substrate is the first thing we're looking at. What are the expectations of the customer in terms of regulatory requirements? In the furniture industry, it's typically the IKEA compliance that we have to reach. In packaging, it's Swiss ordinance or the Nestlé compliance. Now the new European/German regulation. That's the then we look at fastness expectations, light fastness, rub fastness, etc. And then we can identify whether we have a combination or whether we can make use of a combination of components that we're working with, or whether something has to be developed. Identify the cost with the customer. Is he willing to invest, or is it out of his scope? But usually we find a solution in one way or the other to solve the customer's requirement.
I was just thinking that it sounds, of course, very interesting what you're talking about. I was just thinking that, again, as I mentioned before, with many different suppliers in the market, for example, when you talk about the durability, the scratchability, and the compliance that you can accommodate, is that something that makes you unique, or is it still like let's say, a crowded market where you have to work your way to get customers?
It depends really on the area and in the market that we're in. The uniqueness, I think, in NEOS, and that's really something that I didn't find anywhere else. Also, in my previous positions, I did not find customers because I was component supplier before joining NEOS. I didn't find any other printer manufacturer with this degree of flexibility. We
Okay.
are capable of selecting printheads from 6 different printhead manufacturers. We have our own ink company, Inkgenio. We can develop our own inks if necessary. In other cases, we may use ink from well-known ink suppliers because they already have all the certifications and compliance requirements. So this versatility, I think, is really not so easy to find. And if I take an example from the flooring industry, we have a requirement from a company making LVT flooring, looking at a 4 meter wide printer, and there's not so many companies who can develop this kind of printer, 4 meter wide, single pass, in combination with the right chemistry, with the right curing/drying technology. Building that printer is an R&D project in itself, but with the modules that we have, it's probably easier for NEOS to find and to build a solution than for most other printer manufacturers, who are either a lot smaller, also in scope of manufacturing the printers, or so big that they like to replicate what they have once developed. The classical manufacturers of big high performance printers do not like to develop individual solutions that may only sell once. And this is what makes NEOS unique.
Okay. Does that mean that all printers are like built, custom built and purpose built, or does it also mean that it is a combination of, let's say, off the shelf machines and along with developed machines specifically, or how is that?
Yeah, the frame of the printer often is the same. Yeah, so if I take the fighter has 12 positions and can print up to 50 centimeter wide, 500 millimeter maximum printing width, and we can fill the 12 position with different colors. We can run it with water-based ink, with UV curable ink. We can run we can pin every color. We can pin every second color. We can run 6 colors, 8 colors, and use different chemistry in there. But the frame around it is always the same. It's the
Okay.
fighter frame. Bombardier is a
Okay.
bit more flexible. It also looks, and it's what you saw. It's this touch screen with the futuristic
Yeah.
design, Italian style. It's the Bombardier looks similar from the outside, but we can build it in different width from 600 to 240 in the moment, and 2,400 millimeters in the moment. And so with this is what I mean when I say modularity. It's adaptable. There's an existing toolkit, and this will be adapted to the application with everything else that is needed around it.
It sounds to me like that what NEOS has identified is, I mean, for people that doesn't know it, it's like, when let's say laymen talk about printheads, you think of it as like one thing, but actually the to have a, let's say, a finished device, you need to control the ink, you need to retain the frame where you mount the ink, you need to control the software that manages the ink distribution. I mean, so it's a lot of things. So to me, it sounds like NEOS has kind of build an ecosystem where you're capable of, let's say, having a mass production access to something that is specialized. If that makes sense.
Yeah, sounds right. Let's not forget the ceramic inkjet printing industry is very successful. All the including the ex-company of Vincenzo, but also all the competitors have sold thousands of single-pass inkjet printers into the ceramic
Okay, so it
industry.
is a
All of
huge
them
market.
are
It's
capable
a
of
huge.
controlling.
Sorry,
It's
so it's
huge,
a
and all
huge
of them
market.
have
Just yeah,
developed
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
capability to control the printhead. All of them have their own drive electronics. All of them generate the waveforms that drop generation process internally, and certainly that is something that that say the we ex ceramic companies have in common. And there's other ex competitors, if you want, from the ceramic industry are now building single pass for textile, single pass for cardboard. Two in Spain, there's 2 more in Italy. We can see but they're still going to try and sell as many of the same module that has been once developed. But that's certainly something that is quite a strong differentiator, that the control of the printheads and all the software and electronics around this is part of the proprietary knowledge of NEOS.
In just a little bit more than a week, we're going to meet at the IST UV Days, and that was, of course, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you. Always nice talking to you, by the way. But I was thinking that what can people expect? I mean, will they see technology at IST UV Days, or is it more talking about the technology and showing examples, or what can people anticipate?
Well, UV is still a very important part of the process, the UV curing light. IST, since they acquired Integration Technology Limited in the UK, which has just recently been renamed to IST Intech, is one of the key manufacturers of UV LED lamps, curing lamps with a high flexibility, with a high performance. And when we build printers with UV LED, with UV curing technology, we always use LED for all the good reasons that LED gives us: the longevity, the low energy consumption, but also the very small build with a high power concentration. And in the IST UV days, we have the pleasure to show 2 of our printers. We will show the fighter. And actually, yes, we are bringing a 3.5-ton heavy printer to Nürtingen, to Stuttgart, to show what we are doing and how we are integrating, in this particular case, the UV lamps. But also we will have print heads in there. We show different print heads to show the variety of what NEOS is offering. And we also bring a module sample of a Bombardier module. The Bombardier module has two rows, two print bars to install print heads, and the one we are bringing is 1 meter 20 wide. Remember, 2 meter 40. The double width is also possible. We're looking forward to show to the audience, which we believe is to a high percentage coming from the analog printing world, how far inkjet is today and how industrial inkjet can be used already, and to demonstrate that it's no longer a toy and a desktop or a plotter. It's real industrial printing that we can demonstrate with inkjet.
I take that it must, for you personally, also be exciting to come to IST UV Days, because you will probably meet a lot of people you already know, right? And of course, then on top of that, you have all the new potential. So, and I think it's also super great that you bring equipment, because one thing is talking about it and understanding the applications and also the business opportunities, but to see is sometimes believing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how we want to do it. Yes, from the exhibitor, I guess I would probably know more than 80% after almost 20 years in industrial inkjet printing. This will not be so difficult. There's 34 other exhibitors next to NEOS showing what they do in relationship with IST. But from the visitors, I expect a lot of new input, in fact, because I would assume it's a higher percentage of visitors from the analog world, from the business of IST Metz in Nürtingen, more than from the LED side of Intec. And therefore, I'm really excited to meet more people, to meet new people, and to show the potential of inkjet in high performance applications.
When you, I mean, I share your excitement about it, and I think it would be great to be there. I was just thinking that now when you say that people might be surprised on how far inkjet has come. If you look at IST, and also, I mean, I take that you from time to time take a broad look upon the industry and see what also the competitors are bringing to market. I mean, everything that can go digital will go digital. How far away are we from it?
We're in a good way. Let me pick up the example from the metal packaging again, because our machine does 2,500 sheets per hour. Yeah,
wow,
that is industrial. An offset printer does 5,000 to 6,000 sheets per hour. Yeah, so we're at about half, a little bit less maybe. But see, particularly if you come to smaller production runs, changing the plates on an offset printer can easily take 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, so depending on your job size, your daily productivity or weekly productivity of the inkjet printer can really be effectively higher than an offset printer. Yeah, and this is where we are now. It doesn't fit in every scenario. It doesn't fit into every printing house, but with the very short time we have in job changes compared to analog, that's already a big gain, and we're getting closer to reaching the same sort of volumes as analog printers in several applications, particularly seen over the long run, but particularly seen over the opportunity of having much shorter changeover times of all the other advantages we have in digital. I don't have to rename the waste reduction, the water reduction, the energy reduction, all of this. That's why I'm really looking forward to the IST UV Days, because I'm expecting a lot of analog printers that I'm really excited to get into the conversation and show them the possibilities of inkjet and where we are today.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I mean, one thing is when we in our industry always talks about speed and compare it to analog. I think that one very important KPI for people when they're looking into this is the higher value of the print, when you can personalize it, when you can do it short run, when you can be faster turnover time and things like that. And I think that is the value of print. As you know, I come from the commercial print space, so I just see that, you know, production of one, whether it's books or anything else, the value per piece increases so much. And I take that even though you go on an industrial scale. If you can create higher value for your customers, you can also charge more for your products and services. And I think that's also part of the journey and part of the conversation, right?
It's part of the conversation, and another part of the conversation is that often, if you look at the print houses, they have big customers. They take hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square meters from them, and if they have to run short jobs, they do it at a loss. Yeah, they do it at a loss. They sell it at the same price, and they do it at a loss. With inkjet, they don't have to do it at a loss. That's one of the
Very
big
good.
advantages.
Very, very
Yeah,
good
so
and important thing.
you're capping the top of your iceberg, and you make it profitable, and that's a starting point. And if you compare with other industries, going back to ceramics, but also in textile, I was in ITMA last week. In the growth of digital print in those industries is enormous. Ceramic is 100% today. There's no analog printing happening anymore. At least no new analog printers are being installed. Textile has a steep growth curve, and book printing today, as you mentioned it, book printing has also a strong growth in digital versus offset, and the intention of NEOS is to find other industries as well where we can use our competence and our technology in helping making digital valuable in those industries.
And I would say, as a final note, Frank, with your skills and knowledge and your good way of explaining things, I think you must be a huge asset for NEOS and for your customers. So just want to say thank you for your time here on INKISH, and I look very much forward to meet you